Hi there, it's Nichol Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm super excited to share two brand new cards using my Happy Harvest collection for Spellbinders. This is brand new released. I know if you caught my live from earlier this week, I showed putting together the Scarecrow and a couple of other things in real time. Today we're going to create some scenes using pretty much everything from all three etched die sets as well as some sentiments from the stamp sets to embellish the wagon and the sign. So the sentiments for these two cards really become part of the scene. In order to build my scene, I'm actually going to use this stencil from Hero Arts. This is the clouds and oh gosh, grass, clouds and sky. I think it's clouds and sky. I think I forgot to write that down and keep that near the computer, so I'm sorry. The exact product is listed and linked down below the video here, but I love this stencil. The clouds are really great. Any kind of cloud stencil is going to work here. You could even make your own if you want to. I'm using Salvage Patina Distress Oxide ink to ink up the sky. Now this is going to be the exact same process for both backgrounds. So I'm not going to show you this twice. Instead, I'm going to concentrate on the dies themselves. But I did want to show you how I built that background. And I really love this beautiful kind of aquish sky background with all of the great fall colors. I think it ties together really beautifully. Next, I'm going to take Rustic Wilderness Distress Oxide ink. You could stencil grass if you wanted to, but I simply took a little bit of ink in my blending brush and quickly stenciled I simply inked the bottom of my panel. I decided I liked a little bit more subtle look, a little better, and so I opted to not actually stencil any grass. Once I have this all the way blended, I'm ready to start assembling my cute little scene. And we are going to do the Scarecrow first. This is called the Scarecrow etched dies. I so love this set, you guys. I know a lot of you have let me know and left me comments and stuff letting me know that the Scarecrow is your favorite. I am totally on board with you guys and agree. He turned out even better than I could have imagined, so I'm really, really thrilled with this cute little guy. Before we assemble anything, I do want to customize my sign. Excuse me. The sign for this comes from the Welcome Fall collection, and you can use it with everything. You can use it with this scene, you could use it with the wagon, you can use it with the bushel basket. There are just so many ways to use this little sign. A little sign like this is one of those versatile type of products that I find super awesome for all kinds of die cut scene cards, and I thought this one just turned out amazing. Now I personally love to die cut it from some craft wood grain cardstock because I love the texture and I think it works really well. It's also going to work well for the little stake that the Scarecrow is on. So anytime you see me like with the wagon or the basket, the sign, or the Scarecrow stake, I'm usually using this wood grain cardstock because I love, love, love the texture. Now I wanted Hey There Pumpkin from my stamp set to really pop, so I stamped it with clear embossing ink and heat embossed with white embossing powder so that it really shows up against that wood grain. I'm going to take a little Gathered Twigs Distress Oxide ink and ink up the edges. Now I did do that for this particular card for any of the wood grain that you're going to see here. I will tell you on the second card, I actually use Copic markers and I like it a little bit better. Just a different option for you. I like to show a lot of different options. Another thing that I did not do, but I want to make a note of it. So the signpost, if it is not tall enough for you, because so much of the actual post is hidden back behind this sign, snip it in half and simply just kind of stretch it out, and that is going to make it a little bit taller. Probably not in half, but kind of closer up towards the top. That can make your sign much, much taller if you want it to stick up higher than maybe some of the other elements in your card. So here are my array of pumpkins, and I could not be more thrilled that Spellbinders gave me so many options in my collection because pumpkins are my favorite. I love them. I love coloring them. I love shading them. In this case, I've die cut them from an assortment of orange cardstock. We've got some Lawn Fawn canned pumpkin and fake tan, and then I'm simply shading them with Copic markers. This is going to be the same for both cards. This card has all orange pumpkins. We're going to throw in my favorite white pumpkins on my next card, but you guys, I love the pumpkins, and they're all different, and each die set has them. So the Wagon Full of Fall has 2 pumpkins. The Scarecrow and Welcome Fall each have 1. And so that is really going to give you an assortment. It's why having all 3 of the Etched die collections is so great, because you mix and match. Everything on my 2 cards, I am mixing and matching from everything that comes in these to really build custom scenes. The corn I love as well. I probably will be honest and tell you I hate putting it together, but I love the result. So every card I think that I have made with my Happy Harvest collection, I have used it, because you guys, I love it. Love it so much. I die cut a bunch of them for this card, and I've laid them out for now. I've also got my crow, which I love. And then we are building our Scarecrow. So I went ahead and just glued the body to the little stake straight off the bat, and then I'm building his outfit and all of the hay sticking out from the arms and underneath. Now, I did not do very much shading on the Scarecrow for this card. If you want to see a video where I have done a lot more shading for him and really customized him a little bit more, definitely check out my live video. I will link to that at the end of this video. But he is amazing. I also want to mention that I am going to do a complete custom card with my Scarecrow. Probably going to wait just a little bit, but I will be sharing that soon, or I'll do some sort of a quick video. I'm not exactly sure. Probably not maybe an entire card creation video, but I want to die cut him entirely from white cardstock and use markers to completely color him in, just to show you another option. So that is coming. Like I said, it may be just a tiny little bit here, but it will be coming. You know, Stamptember is right around the corner. So much to do here, but I have really loved putting him together, and I thought it would be super fun to share that. He has all the details. He has patches on his clothes. He has hay around his neck, around his waist, to kind of tie him all up and tie him together. The ruffly collar, the hat with the contrasting band. So he has all of the things I love. I love detail. And so this set is just amazing, and I really feel like it's a very good reflection of me and my crafting style. So I know one thing, it is a lot of small pieces. It really is. I understand that, but if you guys know me, you know that this is right down my alley. I know it's down a lot of you guys' alley too, because you let me know all the time, but the detail, it is. Everything is in the details. That is what makes a card for me. And so I couldn't be more thrilled with Spellbinders and the incredible job they did kind of bringing my vision to life. So thank you guys for all of your love and support with this collection, because it does mean the world to me. And so thank you. I'm so excited, and I'm excited to see you guys' samples. I've had a crazy week, and I have loads of samples that other designers have made with my collection. So definitely stay tuned to my Instagram, because I will be sharing a lot of those coming soon. And then I also want to tell you that I don't think she shared it yet, but if you click on over to Simon Says Stamp for the Scarecrow set, I know it's out of stock right now, but it will come back. Callie Person did a fantastic sample with it, and I'm sure she'll be blogging about it soon, but she sent me her card, and I got it this week, and oh my gosh, you guys, it is so gorgeous in person. So this is an amazing set, and I love hearing what you guys think. So you will notice that I am starting the building of my card, and very slow and steady wins the race. You'll also notice that I lay out a lot of components before I take them to my card. It's because I need to see what's going in the background, what needs to be adhered first before I add something else. Because a lot of these pieces are small, I'm using liquid adhesive. It is not going to be forgiving. It's not going to be easy to, or possible even, to remove things and put them where you want. So I've adhered, you know, some of the corn stalks and things like that. There's some back behind the sign. There's some in front of the sign. There's some back behind the pumpkins. There's some back behind the scarecrow. To me, the more you can add here to really make this a full scene, the better. I really couldn't decide where I wanted to put that pumpkin, but if at all you have a question of where to put something, grouping like items together always gives a better statement. So to me, moving and shifting that pumpkin over with the others definitely is the better look. My other favorite and best tip for the corn is assemble the individual little corn pieces off of your card. So you'll notice I added detail with my marker, and then I'm assembling the corn, and then I'm taking that assembled piece and placing it to the corn stalk. And this little tip really helps with the creation. I like to really make it full, so I'm adding a lot of little pieces all over, but I love the look, and I think it really ends up looking fantastic. Now this background panel measures 4 by 5¼ inches. That is going to be slightly smaller than A2 size. That means that when we place it on our side fold white card base, we are going to be left with a fantastic white border all the way around. You could also make this A2 card sized. Just leave your background 4¼ by 5½ inches. And then you can fill that entire space. I just wanted to kind of give my eye a little break with so much going on. That was one of the reasons I trimmed this down just a tiny little bit. So we have our Scarecrow card pretty much put together. I've got quite a bit more corn, I guess, to still add. I will likely do most of that off camera, and we're going to move on to the Wagon card. So I actually haven't put the Wagon together on camera yet. So this was very highly requested in my live video, and you guys can see why I love this Wagon. You can fill it with all of the good fall things. So here is the Copic markers used to shade the wood grain paper, like I was talking about with the last card where I used Distress Oxide ink, and now I'm using markers. I think the markers give a little bit better definition and detail, but you wouldn't have to add anything if you didn't want to. I tend to always like to use my markers for that added depth and dimension. Once I have that for the backing piece, I'm going to put a little glue only on the bottom part of my Wagon. I flip it over and attach then the wood grain back behind there. So it's about a 2-piece for the body of the Wagon. Then for the wheels, there's the wheel piece there, or with the rim. Then there's the actual little wheel, the little black piece we're adding, the center piece, and then I'm actually just going to use Nuvo Crystal Drops in white, gloss white, for the center of my wheels for that contrasting color. I also need to attach those. Now I want to mention that if you don't add as much stuff down near the base of the Wagon, it's going to look a little awkward if you don't put another wheel kind of back behind on that right side. I hope that makes sense. So it looks off kilter. You can kind of imagine that the left wheel on the back side is there, but if you don't add one here on the right, it could look wonky. Now, I didn't add one. There is no point in adding one if you're going to do what I did and add lots of detail down near the base of the Wagon, because it's just going to get covered up. And I really try to save myself the work and all of the extra product and die cutting. So I did not do that. Now, the inside of the sign here, I stamped Thankful for You from my stamp set that goes with this collection. You can see how it fits right inside that little frame that I used to adorn the side of my Wagon as well. You can also leave your Wagon without anything. If you don't want to add a sign to it, you don't have to. I think that's amazing because you can customize it however you want. Maybe you want to put a sentiment up in the sky and don't want to add that. You definitely don't have to. So here you can see I have the same background as the first card. It looks a little blah right now. I did add my handle for my wagon, and see how it looks like it's it could tip over because it's missing a wheel. I promise we're going to disguise that and you'll never know. I am going to assemble my pumpkins. I used canned pumpkin, fake tan, speckled egg, and those are all Lawn Fawn cardstocks, I have to think. And then burnt orange is the deepest, darkest, and that is a Simon Says stamp color. So I really go by color and try to pick from there. And then the hay that you can tuck into your wagon is maybe one of my favorite parts. This is some number 2 pencil Lawn Fawn cardstock shaded with YR23. And we're just going to tuck that coming out of both sides after we fill our wagon full of goodies. I want lots of color. I want lots of different shapes. And then I want to add pumpkins on either side of the wagon with a little bale of hay and all of that good stuff. Here is my favorite white pumpkins, die cut from Lawn Fawn Speckled Egg cardstock, shaded with E43 and 40. The contrasting color of the stems is Lawn Fawn Chocolate Bar cardstock. That's going to be throughout the whole design. I think it's brilliant that there is a separate die for that for all of the layering. Same for the apples. I'm shading those with R24, 29, and 39, pardon me. And that deep dark red color is just a nice addition to the fall colors of our cart. We also will be tucking in some stalks of corn. That's really going to help with the height of my design, and I really kind of thought that would be a fun little element. So we're shifting our wagon kind of over to the right. It's not going to be directly centered, and I kind of think that adds a nice little interesting touch. My other big tip is I am using my Spellbinders reverse tweezers, so they remain shut all the time, to pinch and hold together elements that I'm adding to my wagon while that liquid glue dries. I'm also trying to use minimal glue, so little dabs here and there, as little as I can get away with, so that I still am able to tuck things into my wagon. Look how cute it's coming. I just absolutely love this little wagon. I think it's perfect. So before we actually attach the wagon, I need to attach anything that's going to go on the background of the card. That's going to be a little hay bale, and it is also teeny tiny. I die cut it from number 2 pencil and sunflower Lawn Fawn cardstocks, as well as chocolate bar for the bands that are going to go around it. It's going to be shifted over there to the left of the wagon on the ground. A lot of it ended up being kind of covered up with my pumpkins. I think if I would do this over, I'd probably make 2 of the bundles of hay and kind of have one like tipped up, maybe. I don't know, something a little bit different than how I ended up doing it, but it's okay. And then adding all of my extra pumpkins. Now I felt like I got a little too aggressive with my deep dark burnt orange pumpkin. I pulled in a little I think 57. 44, E44 maybe. Anyway, to blend that back out and to help with the harsh lines, I used E40 and really just kind of went over the whole thing, and that helped disguise that without having to re-die cut anything. I love the assortment of pumpkins. Have I said I love the pumpkins? Haha. Anyway, it's so great. And then leaves, so many leaves. You could tuck them in the wagon. You could tuck them on the ground. You can use them for the wreath. The wreath is the other thing that I will be creating a card for soon-ish. But you can really make some beautiful other fall designs as well. You don't just have to, make a wagon or the scarecrow or the bushel basket. There are other things you can do with these designs, and I really hope that you guys are inspired and will create all kinds of fun things, and definitely tag me and let me know. So I alternated my hay bale with the 2 colors of yellow cardstock, and then I'm going to kind of bind them, with the dark brown cardstock. Now, if I had been thinking, this is another example of a piece I would not have added because it's completely covered up when I add my pumpkins, but that's okay. you know, I didn't know exactly where I was going to put everything, and so I wanted to assemble it as is. But this is kind of why I was saying I think I would have like tipped them up a different direction if I was doing this again. But I love that height on the wagon, and when we add the corn to it, which is the last thing I did, it really finishes this off. We are going to place our crow sitting on one of the pumpkins in the wagon. That also brings up some nice height on that side of the card. We're going to have some little leaves tucked around the pumpkins down there near the base. And these little pumpkins and leaves on the right side is the reason that I did not add that wheel back behind here, because that really just covers up that whole area. There's no reason to add a wheel because you will never see it. I did pop up my crow with some foam adhesive just because I felt like we were getting to have a lot of layers of cardstock on the card, and I thought he would lie nicer if he was popped up, and then I just glued his feet directly to the pumpkin, and I'm holding them in place with those reverse tweezers. We're just going to add shading to leaves and things like that, and you'll notice I just move my tweezers around, holding things in place as that glue dries. Something else to note, that little highlight in the apples, that does die cut all the way out. If you want it to have a contrasting color back behind, I do die cut mine from white cardstock, and that is actually the very last thing I did, was die cut that and place that in the apples so that it had that nice little white highlight. I'm adding shading to my apples. These were die cut from Schoolhouse Red Simon Says Stamp cardstock. I'm going to have it kind of tucked here, sitting on top of the hay bale. To me, doesn't this just feel like one of those little scenes that you walk into the pumpkin patch and it has a wagon filled with all of the pumpkins and things? That's kind of the look I was going for with this, and I was really happy with how it turned out. I could not decide where to put that little leaf, and then I decided to put him right back where I started. Here are the little individual pieces of corn, and we're going to pop those in place. Just like before, much easier to assemble the yellow and little green individual pieces and then place them on the corn stalk. If you want the corn to look more dried out, you could always die cut it from yellow as well. And maybe instead of even adding the corn, you could die cut the corn stalks from like a deep dark yellow, like the number 2 pencil that I used for the hay and things. I think that would look amazing. Some white pen highlight areas, very sparingly. I'm not going to go overboard with this. I added it to the first card as well. We're just going to add little bits of white highlight here and there. We're going to add a little white to the eye of the crow. I think that gives him some character. You can see the etching on him is amazing. And then we're going to take YR23 and add little dots to the corn and go back with our white pen and add some little white dots as well to really make the corn stand out. And then some little white highlights, and I'm kind of having to maneuver some things to get those in because I almost forgot. And really, you wouldn't have to, but I just like the finishing touch of this. And then, of course, they have little green stems and leaves. That's a layered piece, a little extra die cut piece that really makes those apples amazing too. So another idea I have for you guys is if you want to even go further all the way out and with crazy die cutting, a slimline style card where you could really build like maybe everything. The wagon, the bushel basket, the scarecrow, the signage. I think you could fit it all on a slimline card and it would be amazing. So definitely drop me a note in the comments. Let me know what you want to see me make next with my Happy Harvest collection. I am totally going to write them all down, keep track, and that will be my next Happy Harvest video here on my channel, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for these 2 Happy Harvest cards featuring my new collection for Spellbinders. The supplies I used to create my cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here is another video to my YouTube Live where I put together the Scarecrow in real time. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a new card making video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll catch you next time.